Psychic questing is working with intuition, psychic information, dream material towards some kind of goal, whether that be the retrieval of a hidden artifact, the solving of a landscape mystery, or perhaps even some kind of personal enlightenment.
Andrew, you are generally credited as the founder of psychic questing, at least in modern times. How did psychic questing, from your perspective, begin with your story? How did it begin?
I think my interest in psychic matters probably started when I began investigating UFO sightings. It became clear very quickly that the most interesting cases, and those which were believable from a supernatural, paranormal point of view, were the people involved seemed to be of a psychic nature. In other words, they'd had a series of other experiences as well, whether this be seeing ghosts, astral projection, being able to hold an object and feel something about its history. And I felt that there was a link, and that made me study psychism. And then a couple of years after that, I met a guy by the name of Graham Phillips, who was a parapsychologist. He was investigating poltergeist phenomena. He'd noticed that there was a relationship between the appearance of poltergeist and UFO sightings, and he wanted to know how this could possibly be. We got together and realised that the whole thing was possibly part of one bigger picture, and we started to put together a magazine called Strange Phenomena, and we invited people of a psychic nature to contact us with dreams or visions or something that they wanted to lodge, particularly if they related to future events. And this eventually, in 1979, led to a series of strange occurrences, which was followed up by historical research. And we eventually uncovered a short sword in a bridge in a county called Worcestershire in the middle of England. And we went on to find a brass casket with a small green stone in, which the psychic information had suggested had links to the Philosopher's Stone. Now, there's a big backstory to this, obviously, but I mean, this was quite extraordinary. You know, the idea that you could use psychic abilities to actually find things. But as the years rolled by and this subject became, controversial by fact of me releasing a booklet all about it called The Sword and the Stone, which came out in 1982, I believe, was the fact that I started to realise that this wasn't new.
And there were a couple of books done about that, is that correct? More than maybe at least two I know of. What were they?
My own psychic questing books have included The Seventh Sword, The Black Alchemist, The Second Coming, and my friend and colleague Graham Phillips' main book on the subject was The Green Stone.
In your book, The Seventh Sword, at the end of the book, you give people some advice about psychic questing and maybe finding the seventh sword, and you say that the quest will go on to find it, and if they find it, to contact you, and so on. Has anyone ever found the seventh sword, to your knowledge?
Well, before even the book was published, we actually found the seventh sword.
And where is it now?
At the moment, it's with a very close colleague of mine who still has it to this day. And I think she used to sleep with it under her bed, but probably not.
Did you ever release that to the public?
We were actually told by the publishers not to say anything, because it would ruin the fun of the reader, believing that they themselves could go on and find the seventh sword. Yeah. And that's what they wanted, and that was that. And what was interesting is that even when a new edition of the book came out, they still said keep it as it is. Yeah. They did not want that final story there.
So has anybody ever released, has Graham or you ever released information that the seventh sword was found?
Yes, yeah. I used to do a journal called EarthQuest News. Well, in fact, I still do it electronically. And there were full accounts in there of the discovery of the seventh sword and all follow-up, stories relating to it.
Okay. Any idea? Are you going to update those books? Is there any plans to update? I know you did the Black Alchemist, but you did the Second Coming and the Seventh Sword. Any plans on updating those, or anything coming?
I'm currently updating the Seventh Sword for republication. However, because it's quite a long book, I'm actually going to do it in perhaps 3 parts as a trilogy. The first part is already edited and essentially ready to go, and it will have new covers. It will be completely polished in its style in a manner which it wasn't before, and this should be ready for release in 2019, which is the actual 40th anniversary of the discovery of the green stone and the sword back in 1979.
So are there some things planned for that anniversary?
We have planned a special 40th anniversary greenstone convention that will take place in the Midlands of England over the weekend. I believe it's the 26th and 27th of October.
Next year,
2019. And all details will be released soon on andrewcollins.com, where we'll be able to, people will be able to apply for tickets.
Okay.